A short while ago I had to give a detailed explanation to a member of the Void of what should have been a simple statement, that ILoveKimPossibleAlot is not a monster or a slave driver or any of the other sensationalist gibberish claims that trolls have made against her. There is not much room for misinterpretation in those words, yet they have either been totally misconstrued or fallen on deaf ears time and time again. Why is it that this message has been so hard to swallow, even after the likes of Lily Pete and Anthony C deconstructed the nonsense long ago? Well, the reasons, which are complex, have a lot to do with the way the community is structured, and now I intend to get to the bottom of the matter once and for all. If you weren't aware, there is an underbelly to the MLP analysis community comprised of various clubs, organisations or alliances for content creators like myself. They're basically like when you were a kid and you had a tent or a treehouse with a secret password. Ostensibly they are meant to aid with collaborative projects, though in reality they've become something of a circle jerk. It's not all bad. As I mentioned, I'm in the Skype chat for the Void Outpost, one of the smaller groups, and one of my upcoming videos in fact came about directly as a result of a conversation in that room. But mostly they serve as a means for the community to stroke its own ego, something this fandom likes to do a lot. Now, there's nothing essentially wrong with that in principle, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't like to stroke my own ego from time to time. However, it does become a problem when it obstructs proper discourse from taking place. I bring this up because in Horse Famous, Lily Pete cited the rift as being central to the smear campaign against KP, but neglected to clearly specify which rift she was talking about.
And if you thought our good old friends at the Rift were going to suddenly approach a very volatile subject that relies a lot on he said she said with responsibility intact, then you are wrong and need to go back to internet school.
And so the mods of the Secret Rift seized on it as a chance to one-up themselves in their ongoing feud with the Second Opinion's Rift Cafe. In the ensuing crossfire, the whole message of the video was lost. I should explain that the Secret Rift diverged from the Rift Cafe some time ago and severed all ties. The exact details of how this came about are still being debated to this day, and I'm not qualified to comment on that, nor do I have any interest in doing so. All you need to know is that ever since they've been taking every opportunity to drag the Rift Cafe's name through the mud. It's precisely the kind of kids' treehouse mentality I mentioned earlier.
You're just basically being a lazy, incompetent asshole. But hey, it's the Rift Cafe tradition.
I told him that we wanted nothing to do with the old Rift, that's why we separated in the first place, and we promptly kicked him out the door.
The old Rift is a room of sub 1,000 channels trying to get bigger, while having a cynical hatred for more popular channels.
Lily Pete later clarified she was referring to the Secret Rift, then withdrew the clarification, no doubt realising that this had become a trivial distraction from something far more important. But by that stage, British Ninja, now an ex-mod, had already made a video promoting and simultaneously deflecting all responsibility away from the Secret Rift, while having the audacity to call himself a neutral party.
Lily Pete does not know what the room is like because Lily Pete has never been in the Secret Rift. Thus, it would be very arrogant for her to make any comments hating a group that she knows very little about.
Stroking your own ego is one thing, however, after a certain point it starts to reek of insecurity. I'm not saying those mods are insecure necessarily, hell, I consider myself on good terms with some of them, and I'm sure their quality control is every bit as stringent as they claim it to be, but that is how it can come across at times. Anyway, if you think all this is tedious and irrelevant, then yes, it is. That's the point. Most casual observers don't even know what the Rift is, but what happened with KP, on the other hand, is serious.
I think many people see me as, or let's say my internet persona, as a bubbly, fun fangirl, and they forget that life and events like this happen to everyone. I'm not as invincible as I thought I was. I'm just a person.
We often forget with celebrities that underneath the corporate persona is a real, vulnerable individual. Whatever mistakes KP made, she did not deserve a lynch mob of trolls coming after her, and the fact that that ever happened is frankly sickening. If you're sat there now ready with the Rachel is a scummy human being argument, then you are coming at this from the wrong angle. The fact is, the movement against ILoveKimPossibleAlot was rotten from its core. Hell, those behind Ann and KP links have all but admitted they were making most of it up for attention. This was never a matter of morals or values.
It stopped being about, helping her team and helping her improve and, getting all our stories out there, and it more or less devolved into us basically just stirring up trouble for the sake of having fun.
Maybe KP is the scum of the community, but I'm not going to believe anything with any certainty because an anonymous Twitter account in a Horse News article said so. This is the part that people have the hardest time understanding. I am not defending KP. Calling out sensationalist bullshit is not defending KP. I'm merely saying that whatever real problems did exist were blown way out of proportion by trolls and should ideally have been resolved internally. externally. I mean, is it really that hard to grasp a bit of nuance and not see everything in black and white? Or are we still too busy arguing about which rift is better this week to listen? What I will say finally is while Lily Pete was right to withdraw her clarification, she should have gone a step further and never mentioned the rift to begin with. Sadly, it detracted from what should have been a poignant video, and since she has started talking about the rift again, it seems apparent that Lily does not even know what the rift is. I mean, you do realise there are a lot of decent creators residing in those rooms, including those you have covered before. It's sweeping condemnations like this which are the reasons people don't like you and don't take you seriously. And that's a great shame, because you clearly put an awful lot of thought into your videos. Snap Crackle Fizzlepop was an amazing piece of analysis, and honestly, I wish you'd just employ a little more tact, then others might appreciate that.
There was a time when Lily's work was fantastic. It was interesting, thought-provoking. I always walked away with a fascinating new perspective. And even at their worst, they were at least watchable. I didn't make this video because I want Lily to leave, or because I want people to ignore her. I made it because I want her to do better. I know she can do better. I've seen her do better.
Midnight chimes, over and out. Wait, is this thing on? Am I even on the right frequency here? Hang on, let me check these settings.